Welcome back to Program with Akshay. And in today's video, we are going to continue with our AWS CDK Masterclass. And in this particular session or in this particular video, we are going to see the project. We are going to see the AWS infrastructure, how we are going to create a new AWS infrastructure stack. Okay, so let's start. So in this video, we will see. So in this video, we will cover how we are going to create an VPC. Okay, how we are going to import an existing VPC, and inside the VPC we are going to create a security group, and inside the security group we are going to create public subnet, and inside the public subnet we will create an EC2 instance, and inside the EC2 instance we will create a user script data. We will create a script called as user data.sh where we install our packages like we will install the HTTP and HTTPD, and we will display a simple hello world HTML page. Okay, so this is the project which we are going to cover in this masterclass. So let's start. So before starting, there are prerequisites. So we need to have Visual Studio Code, we need to have TypeScript, and we need to have AWS CDK and CLI installed. Okay, and make sure that user profile configuration is done on your machine. Okay, so I have explained all the steps in the part 2 masterclass of this CDK. So I will provide a link in the description. Okay, so our goal is to create an AWS infrastructure. Okay, with the using AWS CDK. Okay, and this is the diagram how we can achieve. Okay, as I said in the introduction part, we are going to import the default VPC, and we are going to create two public subnets, okay, and a security group, and we will going to create an either of the EC2 instance in the public subnet, okay, with some predefined user script data. Okay, so let's start for creating our new project. Okay, let's fire up the Visual Studio, and inside the Visual Studio I have already created a new folder called as AWS Infra Project. Now go to the terminal, and inside the new terminal fire the command cdk init app hyphen language is equal to TypeScript. Okay, so this will create our AWS CDK project. Okay, this will install our node modules folder, and this will initialize our CDK application. Okay, once the application is been initialized, we can start our coding. Okay, and after we will first create a key value pair. So we need to create a key value pair, and after creating a key value pair, we will start to create our EC2 instance. We will start to create our security group, and inside the security group we will create those permissions like allow inbound rules and allow outbound rules. So we will see those step by steps. Okay, so let's wait for a minute to initialize our project, and then we can start our actual coding inside our bin folder. Okay, so this is the bin folder, and inside the bin folder we have something called as the environment files, okay, where the actual execution is going on inside the which environment you have to deploy in this project, and inside the lib folder where you are going to create an actual stack. Okay, so let's wait here. Okay, and let me pause the video. Once the npm install is done, we can start our actual execution of creating the infrastructure. So our infrastructure is getting time to get loaded. So meanwhile, this inside the bin folder, okay, so this bin folder is the actual execution of our project. Okay, and inside the bin folder we have something called as environment. Okay, so we will uncomment this line. Okay, and why we are going to uncomment this line? So basically whatever the execution you are doing, that needs to be deployed into a certain region. Okay, so in my case, I have a region called as, my region is AP South 1. Okay, that might be a Virginia or Ireland. Okay, so you need to uncomment this line so that once the stack has been created, those stacks will be deployed in your region. Okay, so they have given an example like this is the account ID. Okay, so and this is the region. Okay, so if you don't have any if you haven't done your CLI configuration on your machine, okay, then you need to uncomment this line number 18. And if you have done your AWS CLI configuration on your machine, then this 14 line is sufficient to proceed with our AWS CDK project. Okay, then this is the actual execution of our application starts. Okay, and this is the app folder, or this is the root module of our execution of our AWS CDK, and inside the root module we have something called as stack. Okay, stack app or stack construct. Okay, now this will call the AWS infra project.stack.ts, which is residing under lib. If you go to Yes, if it is residing under lib. Okay, so this is the hierarchy. Okay, you can follow my part 3 of AWS CDK Masterclass, where I have explained about architecture and lifecycle, building blocks, level of construct, and CDK project overview. Okay, what exactly each and every file is doing. Okay, again, I will provide the link in the description. You can go refer it. Okay, now let's start to the actual execution. Now what first we are going to do, we are going to create user data. Okay, user data file, predefined user data file. So inside the lib folder, we will create a new file, something called as user-data.sh, as it is a shell script file. So it will start with shaban. Okay, /bin /bash, and we are going to use an Amazon Linux machine. So the command will be something called as sudo su. Okay, then we will update our server. Okay, and then we are going to install http and httpd packages. Okay, so yum install -y httpd, and we are going to restart our httpd service systemctl start httpd systemctl enable httpd. So in case of reboot, this will start our http service, and we have to make our service as enable. Okay, so we are going to enable our service. Okay, now what we are going to do, we are going to print hello world. So echo h1 hello world from the host name, our host name, which we are going to specify -f, and we are going to close our h1 tag here. Okay, and where from /var/www/html/index.html. Okay, so this is the file. We are going to print hello world from our host name. Okay, -f. Okay, from where we are going to do that HTML file. So it is residing under /var/www/html/index.html. Okay, so this is how you create a user defined predefined user data script once you load an EC2 instance. Okay, now we are going to see how we are going to create an actual stack. Okay, so to create an actual stack, first we will go to AWS_infra_project.stack.ts, and we will try to delete those lines which are not required. And before going, first we are going to import the packages for EC2. Okay, so to import the packages for EC2, key value pair, we are going to import EC CDK -EC2 -KeyPair. Okay, so it's an npm package. We are going to import that first. So the command is npm I CDK EC2. For EC2, we are creating an KeyPair. So this will install all the node packages for our key value pair which are required for EC2 instance. Okay, so once it is done, we can see those in our package.log.json. Okay, so inside the package.log.json, we have something called as AWS CDK -EC2 -KeyPair, and this is the version. Okay, that means our CDK pair key value pair has been successfully installed. Okay, now let's try to create a key pair object in our stack. Okay, so to create an key pair object, we will try to create a key pair object in here. Okay, so we will declare a variable first, const key, and we will call an key pair construct. Okay, so this will import the key pair construct from CDK -EC2 -KeyPair, and inside this, which will have a scope as this, and give a name called as KeyPair, and which will have properties, or which will have attributes like name. You can give name like CDK EC2 KeyPair. I'm giving the same name as for the node package dependencies, and description. Okay, we will give a description as something called as KeyPair for CDK deployment. Okay, so we have successfully created our KeyPair object here. Okay, so in this we have created a new KeyPair. Okay, and we have taken a variable inside the we have created a variable, something called as const key, and we are going to invoke the KeyPair construct, and the scope is this. Okay, and we are giving a name, and there are properties like name and description. So there are many properties, but these are the required properties to create those KeyPair. Okay, now let's try to import the default VPC, which is already been created by AWS. Okay, so let's try to import default VPC. Okay, so to import default VPC, we will again create a new variable, something called as VPC, and we will have something called as EC2 dot VPC. We have something called as VPC, VC, yeah, dot something called as from lookup. So from lookup, and which will have again values as this, scope as this, and you can give a name, something called as default VPC, and we are going to pass the properties. So in this case, we are going to pass the properties as is default, something called as true, is default true, and that's about it. Now let's try to import the key pair here. Okay, so to import the key pair, we have something called as EC2 key pair. Okay, so we have something called as import star from EC2, from where we are going to do this. Okay, import as EC2 from AWS CDK lib slash AWS hyphen EC2. Okay, so this will install our VPC packages. Okay, so these are the import statement which are required from EC2 packages from lookup. Yeah, L capital. Okay, so this is how we have imported the default VPC. Okay, so here we are importing the default VPC and specifying the properties only as is default true, because it is a default VPC which is created by AWS. Okay, so next step is we are going to create an security group. Okay, so let's create an SG for an EC2 instance. Okay, so we are going to create security group. So before creating a security group, we will create a variable web, name it as websg, and new EC2 dot security group. Scope is this, give a name as web CDK SG. Yeah, let me give W as capital, and we are going to give the properties. Now inside this, we are going to create a new security group. Okay, but this security group attached to which VPC? So this is the default VPC. Okay, so we are going to create the security group, and we are going to attach this security group to the default VPC. So provide the properties as VPC. Okay, and we have going to create and allow outbound rules to true. Okay, so this will allow all the traffic inside, or this will allow, not allow, this will, we are going to like we are going to egress all the traffic from to the all the servers. Okay, so this is allow outbound rule, and allow inbound rule we are going to specify to port 80 and port 22. Port 22 is for SSH and port 80 is for all the network traffic. Okay, so we are going to create two ingress rule now. Okay, so let's add two ingress rule for this security group. Okay, so websg dot add ingress rule EC2 dot peer dot any IPv4. Okay, and inside this we are going to specify for port number port dot TCP as TCP port 80, right? And we are going to give a description, allow traffic from anywhere. Correct? Yes, similarly I will copy paste this. We are going to create for port 22. Okay, same for IPv4, instead of 80 we are going to specify port 22. Okay, and for port 22 we are going to specify the description like allow SSH. Okay, so we are going to SSH to our EC2 instance. Okay, which will have those key. We already are going to create a key value pair. Okay, so we will create a private key .pem file, and with the help of that pem file, we are going to SSH to our EC2 instance. Okay, so we already had created the key pair. We had imported the default VPC. We have created a security group, okay, for our EC2 instance, and inside the security group we have created the ingress rule, okay, for port 80 and for port 22, okay, and we have specified all outbound rules as true. That means we are going to drive it, or we are going to uh, basically we are going to throw all the traffic. So basically we are going to egressing all the traffic to the internet. Okay, so we are not putting any restrictions to the outbound rule. Okay, so this is the setup is done. Now the main part, we are going to create an EC2 instance. Okay, so to create an EC2 instance, we will create a variable again, and we will try to import the ec2.instance construct. Okay, so let's see. So we will try to create a new EC2 instance. Inside this, we will try to create EC2 instance, create a new variable, and let's try to invoke the construct for EC2 instance. And inside this, we are going to pass the scope as this and give a name like something called as CDK hyphen web server hyphen instance. Now, inside this, we are going to specify the key pair which we have already created above. Okay, we are going to specify the VPC, the default VPC. Okay, we are going to specify the subnet. Okay, so in our case, our subnet is public. Okay, we are going to specify the security group, okay, which we have already created above. Instance type. Okay, so instance type we are going to select. Okay, so while creating an application, or while creating an AWS console, or in the AWS console, while creating an EC2 instance, so let me show you. Let me log in into my AWS account first. So when you try to log in into an AWS console, you create an EC2 instance. Okay, and once you try to create an EC2 instance, we have something called as launch instance. Okay, and inside the launch instance, you create you give a name like something called as web server, and you select an image name, like suppose Amazon image name. You have to select Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, or Red Hat. Okay, and then you select the instance type. Okay, what instance type you are going to select, like it is which instance class, like suppose burst table you are going to select. Then you select an instance size like micro, medium, then large. Okay, and then you select the key value pair. Okay, the key pair value, and then you select the security group, or you select an existing security group, or you create a new security group. Then you create the default VPC. Do you want to create like launch this instance into default VPC, or do you want to create a new VPC? Okay, so this is the you do the configuration from console when you try to launch an instance from EC2. Okay, so instead of doing that, we are going to do from our code. Okay, from our AWS code, and this code will get deployed to our AWS account, and all the configuration which I have shown you in the previous section will be done. Okay, so first thing first, let's try to import our key name, and inside the key name we will try to import key.keypair. Okay, and we are going to import into the default VPC. Yes, and then we are going to create VPC subnet. So this is an object, VPC subnet, and inside this object we are going to create a subnet type. Okay, subnet type as EC2 dot subnet type. So this is an enum public. Okay, so this is the object we have created. Now let's attach the security group. So we have already created a security group. Great. Then we are going to specify the instance type. Okay, so instance type will be here EC2 dot instance type dot off, and inside this we are going to specify instance class and instance size. Okay, so EC2 dot instance class We have something called as instance class, instance, no, EC2 dot instance dot off. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, this curly bracket is not there. EC2 dot instance class dot, we have something called as burst table. Okay, so we are going to select burst table 2, and then we are going to select instance size. So we have something called as instance size dot micro. Okay, now this is done. Now we are, the main thing, we are going to select the image. Okay, which image we have to launch this EC2 instance. So in this for particular session, we are going to use Amazon Linux 2. Okay, so let's do that. Machine image, select machine image as new EC2 dot Amazon Linux image. Here we have curly brace, and we are going to specify the generation. Okay, so generation is TC2 Amazon Linux generation dot Amazon to Linux. So yeah, that's about it, and this will create a new EC2 instance. Okay, so we have created a key value pair. Okay, so I am getting, we have to key. Okay, so the variable is key dot KeyPair name. Yeah, so we have created a new EC2 instance. So inside the new EC2 instance, we have invoked the instance construct, and inside this invoke construct, we have to specify the properties like key name, okay, which is very important to SSH into the EC2 instance, VPC, default VPC, subnet, like it is a private subnet or public subnet, then security group, okay, in which security group we have already created a security group, and we have already created the inbound rule and outbound rules. Great. We have specified the instance type, okay, as a size and class, like it is a burst table, and the main thing, image, which image, like Ubuntu or Linux. So in this case, we are specifying Linux image. Okay, so this is all about it. Okay, now we are going to specify. Now we have created our most of our AWS infrastructure. Okay, now we have to load our user data. Okay, once the EC2 instance is created, we are going to browse either with our public IPv4 DNS name, or you can browse with your public IP. Okay, so we have to load the user data script, okay, which we have already been created. Okay, so to do that, we are going to create a variable, something called as user data, and inside that variable we are going to call the read file sync, and we are going to specify the user data path. Okay, and then we are going to attach to the EC2 instance. So let's see how we are going to do that. So load our user data. Okay, so const user data is equal to read file sync, from where we are going to read dot slash lib. Correct, we have the user hyphen data dot sh is residing under lib folder slash user hyphen data dot sh, and we are going to specify encoding in this case. Okay, utf, specify utf hyphen 8. Okay, so we have successfully read our user data. Now we are going to attach this user data to our EC2 instance. Add user data to EC2 instance. Okay, now EC2 instance dot add user data and specify the variable. So this will add the user data to the EC2 instance. So once you boot up the EC2 instance, we are able to see the user data file. Okay, so most of the parts are been done. Okay, now the last part. Okay, now we are going to connect this app, connect this whole project, this infrastructure. Okay, like we need to have a public DNS name, we need to have an key pair, we need to have an IP address and a download key command. Okay, so we are going to see how we can download key command, and how we can download that with the help of download key command, with the help of that secrets manager, how the PEM file will get generated. Okay, and then an SSH command, how we are going to create an SSH command. Okay, so with that, okay, so we are going to create a connection. Okay, we have something called as new CFN output for creating outputs for connecting. Okay, so let's see that how to do that. So outputs for connecting. So we have something called as new CFN output. Yes, and inside this we are going to scope is this. First we are going to specify the public DNS name. So specify the name public DNS name from where we are going to get. Okay, so it is having a value. Okay, value as EC2 instance dot public DNS name. Okay, so this will specify the public DNS name. Okay, now same thing we are going to specify for the public IP. Okay, we have something called as instance public IP. Now for the same thing we are going to do for key value pair. Okay, let me specify the public IP here, IP address. Now same thing we are going to specify for key pair. So we have something called as key pair. Okay, and we have something called as, we have created a variable called key, and here we are going to specify key pair name. Okay, so this will specify the key pair name. We have something CFN. Let me import those quick fix and let me try to import. Yes, let me try to save this, save all. And now we have only two things pending. Okay, one is our download key command, where we are going to download our PEM file, private key file. And next we are going to how to, our SSH command, how we are going to SSH into our EC2 instance. Okay, so the command is, or so the code is new CFN output. Okay, and here you will pass the scope as this. Okay, and specify download key command name, or alias, you can say that. Okay, now here in value we are going to specify the key value pair. Okay, so this value will be get saved into the secrets manager. Okay, and we are trying to read those secrets manager, we are trying to try to read those values from the secrets manager as a secret string. Okay, so so basically we are going to save this value, that's this secret string, into a PEM file. Okay, and inside this PEM file we are going to give a command called as chmod 400. So basically we are giving the permissions to that PEM file. Okay, so the command is value first. Okay, and inside the value we have AWS secrets manager get secret key, so get secret value, and we have something called as hyphen secret hyphen id. Okay, now we are going to create a key pair inside the secrets manager. Okay, so the name will be EC2 hyphen SSH hyphen key slash CDK slash key pair. Correct, you can specify slash here. Okay, now what is this? This is a private key. Okay, so specify the private key. Now we are, this is the query. Now we are going to try to read those secret string. Okay, so specify secret string hyphen output text. Now we are trying to write this output into a PEM file. So specify cdk.pem, and you have to give permissions to those PEM files. cdk hyphen key dot pem. Okay, so this is all about it, or for our storing the secrets into the secrets manager. Okay, where we are specifying the value. Okay, great. Let me try to, yes, hyphen check it, just a minute. Hyphen output text, yeah, and insert cdk key p.pem, and yes, permissions. So AWS secrets manager, okay, gets hyphen secret dot value, correct, hyphen secret hyphen id EC2. So the key, so we are creating this key for the EC2 instance. So the command will be EC2 hyphen SSH hyphen key slash the name CDK key pair private, and the query, we are retrieving the query as a secret string, and we are putting this in the text file, and then we are putting that those private keys into the cdk.pem. We are creating a file, and then we are after giving the permission. Okay, now the next command is for ssh. Okay, so new cfn output, scope is this, and description is ssh command, correct? And again the value, we have something called as value. Now the value will be ssh. Now how we are going to ssh hyphen I, provide a name cdk-key.pem. So this is the pem file which will get generated, correct? Okay, and specify hyphen o as a parameter, hyphen o, identity only, identity, identities only as yes. So this will do the identity. Okay, and then we have to specify the EC2 username, okay, for the instance public IP address. Okay, so EC2, so our user is EC2. Okay, at the rate, okay, then specify a single quote now, or you can end the quote, and then you provide the variable name. Okay, so the variable name is EC2 instance, EC2, just a minute, let me put a plus sign here, plus EC2 instance dot instance public IP address. Okay, so this is how we are going to SSH into our public IP. Okay, that means our EC2 instance. Okay, so these are the outputs for connecting. Okay, so we have something called as public DNS, we have something called as IP address, and a key pair. Okay, now these are the prerequisites, you can say that. Now these are the two commands where we are going to create a pem file, okay, from the secrets manager. Okay, and this is the syntax, you can say, how we can name the key value pair inside the secrets manager, and how we can read those query from the secret as a secret string, and how we can store it in a pem file. Okay, and then this is the command for ssh. Okay, so this is all about it, how to create the infra. Now we are going to see how we are going to bootstrap the application, and after bootstrapping the application we will try to synthesize, and then we will try to deploy. Okay, so cdk bootstrap, so this will bootstrap our CDK project, and it will create a cdk.out word folder. And I've already explained how it has been created, cdk.out, and inside how those JSON file or a TypeScript file get compiled, and how it is getting deployed with the help of CloudFormation. Okay, so let's wait here. The application is getting bootstrapped, and after getting the bootstrap we will try to synthesize our project and check if there is any syntax error, or any errors in the file which have been created. Okay, so yeah, bootstrap is done. Now let's try to synthesize. So the command is cdk synth. So this will synthesize our project, and the last and the final step, we are going to deploy our application. Okay, so it is taking time to synthesize. Yeah, so synthesize is done, we don't have any errors. Now cdk deploy. Okay, so this will take 2 minutes, and it will ask you a prompt. Okay, whether do you want to deploy all your code into a aws account. So press yes, and it will deploy all your project into your aws in your aws account, and this will create all the stack. Okay, so let me show you. So once all the steps are done, so you can see it is going to create those IAM statements. It is going to create the security groups. These are the inbound rules, and this is the outbound rules. So click on Y. So and this will create all the stack in your AWS account. Okay, so let's wait for a minute now. So it took a lot of time to deploy those stack into the AWS. So this has been successful. Our stack has been created. Now, if you see, we have something called as outputs, which we have already created, okay, to display those in our terminal. So we have something called as download key command, which we have already created. Okay, we have something called as project stack IP address. So with this help of IP address, you can browse your page. We have public DNS name, KeyPair, and SSH command. Okay, so let's try to browse with the public DNS name. Okay, so go to your Chrome, and you should see our hello world index page if everything works fine. Yes, and you can see this is the hello world from this is the host name, from this is the region. Okay, you can browse with your public IP address also. So this is our public DNS name, and this is our public IP address, and this should display our same content which we have created. Okay, now this is all about that. Okay, and let's see our stack has been created, or our project which we are trying to do which has been created. Okay, so go to EC2 instance, and inside the EC2 instance I can already see that one instance is already been created. And let's try to navigate, and we can see the name as AWS Infra Project Stack hyphen sorry slash CDK web server, the name which we are going to give inside our class. Okay, or inside our properties which we have specified. Okay, so this is the EC2 instance is created. Instance ID, you can see the instance type as G2 micro. Okay, and the availability zone is my southern. Then this is the DNS name, this is the public DNS name, this is the private DNS name. Okay, and this is the security group which has been created, that means great. This is the key value pair, okay, which is being created. Okay, now let's see the security group. So this is the security group is been created for our EC2 instance. This is the new security group, as you can see, AWS Infra Project Stack, and this is the security group Web CDK SG and the name. Okay, and if you see the inbound rules, okay, we have specified port as 22 and 80. For 22 we are for SSH, and 80 for allowing the all the traffic from the internet. And outbound rules, similarly we are specifying the all traffic, okay, for all ports. So we have created our security group and EC2 instance with the help of those tags. Okay, and our VPC we are using the default VPC. Okay, so we have not created new VPC. You can create the new VPC with the help of AWS CDK also, but we are importing the default VPC. Now if you go to VPC, yeah, we are importing the default VPC, and inside the default VPC you can see I have not done anything. Okay, we have something called as subnets. We have already seen subnets. Now the main thing, we are going to download our PEM file. Okay, so to download key command, you have to copy this. So you copy this and paste it and press enter. Okay, at the rate is not supported. I'm in Windows, so I'm trying to remove it. And yes, you can see the CDK -key.pem has been created. Okay, and this is the private file which we are going to use while doing the SSH. Okay, so for creating an SSH, okay, you need to copy this command. Okay, and after copying this command, I am already on the Windows machine, so I am not going to create all the hacks like how to create those SSH. So if you have a virtual box, you can SSH into the EC2 instance. Okay, and you can run all the commands. Okay, so this is how you can do an SSH. So we are SSH, the command is SSH-I. So we already have a PEM file which has been created, we have created just now. Okay, -o identities only is equal to yes. So identities we are going to specify as private key. So that is why we have specified identities, and the username EC2-user and the public IP. Okay, so once you enter this command, you will log in into the EC2 instance. Okay, so we have completed our AWS infra project, where we have seen like how we can create stacks. Okay, how we can create a key value pair. Okay, how we can import an existing VPC, how we can create a security group, and how we can create those inbound and outbound rules. Okay, and how we can create a new EC2 instance, how we can specify the machine image and instance type, how we can create those subnets, key name, how we can import the key name which has been created, and the main thing for connecting outputs, how we can generate a PEM file, and we are storing this PEM file in the secrets manager. And with this we are retrieving those keys from the secrets manager and storing in our project file, and we are SSHing, or we are SSH into our Linux server. Okay, so let me show you my secrets manager first. Okay, so this is my secrets manager. Okay, and inside the secrets manager we have something called as, this is the name of the key. Okay, and if I try to retrieve the secret value, we have something called as private key. Okay, so we are generating the private key and we are reading that private key from our project and storing in our project folder. Okay, and then we are doing the SSH with the help of the public key. Okay, so this is all about the project for AWS infrastructure. In the upcoming project, or in the upcoming lectures, we are going to see how we can create an ALB, okay, with the help of AWS CDK. Okay, and we are going to see the real world example, okay, how we can create an email notification service with the help of AWS CDK. Okay, so these are the two projects which we are going to see in the upcoming masterclass. So this was the first project. Now the upcoming two projects like email notification and ALB creation with the help of AWS CDK. So stay tuned with program with Akshay, and if you found this content useful, do share with your friends and do like the video. Happy learning and goodbye and happy new year from my end. All the best.